Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I thought it might be fun to do a video where we read some comments and maybe I respond to some comments. My name is Dr. Andrew Moore. If you haven't been here before, I'm professor of great books at St. Thomas University. I make videos about books and ideas and the humanities. I really appreciate you watching it and commenting on the videos. People often say very kind things and sometimes people have interesting questions, and occasionally sometimes people are mean. Maybe we'll address some of the mean comments.
Hey! You shouldn't do that.
Who are you?
I'm your daimon, a spiritual guide who tells you what not to do.
What are you doing here?
Trying to save you from a painful and pointless exercise.
We're gonna just talk about comments.
Anonymous internet people say awful things, and you'll go crazy.
I'm a very well-adjusted person. I promise that nothing people say can, I've got a pretty thick skin.
Even happy people cannot endure the hellscape of online speech.
No, I don't care about this. Let's look at the comments. See, look at this. I like you. You're a cool teacher I can watch and listen to talk. Amazing. This is what I aspire to be. I want to be a cool teacher that you can watch and listen to talk. I'm going to finally use my library card. Thanks, G. Good. Thank you, G. Here's one. Have you ever read Blood Meridian? I haven't actually, but I'm going to. I got a copy of Blood Meridian. I'm going to read it this summer. I'm teaching next year. I'm teaching a seminar on the novel. I got to teach a bunch of novels, and I have a bunch in mind, but I'm keen to read some things I haven't read. And I might incorporate them into the syllabus. So maybe Blood Meridian, I don't know. One of my favorite professors, I had coffee with him months ago, and he actually recommended it to me also. So maybe we'll see. This is my first video of yours. Your students are so lucky. Love your passion and the clear way you explore it. In all honesty, super flattering. Thank you all for really kind comments on the channel. I really I appreciate this stuff so much. It's very kind of you, and I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Thank you for watching and hanging out. New comment. This was just a few hours ago. Let's see what this one is. It's on a video about Plato. Liberal Democrats in America do not find government intrusive. Those are libertarians and conservatives. Liberal Democrats are wannabe communists and anarchists that love government oppression. Okay, this is the thing. So in this video, I was probably talking about liberal democracy. And when we're talking about liberal democracy, we don't mean like left-wing politics or the Democratic Party. That's not what liberal democracy means or is about. Liberal democracy is really like a kind of a technical term. A liberal democracy is a democracy in which your liberties, like the freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, those rights, right, your liberties, are protected by some kind of constitutional document. That's what a liberal democracy is. It doesn't have anything to do with like right or left or conservative or liberal. Like if you're a citizen of a contemporary democracy that's governed by the rule of law, you are a liberal Democrat, whether you're conservative or liberal or socialist or whatever you want to say. The other thing, so this is wrong. Liberal Democrats are wannabe communists and anarchists that love government oppression. So the commenter suggests that people on the left love oppression. What should one say? See, here's my... No one loves oppression, but if we want to talk about the people on the political spectrum who seem to be inclined towards authoritarian...
Stop! Don't go crazy.
Don't do it. Don't do it. A lot of people on the political right who are supposed to love liberty these days seem really enthusiastic about authoritarianism.
You won't change anyone's mind this way.
I know. So when I get a comment like this, I don't know what to do. There, YouTube gives you tools. I could just remove a comment like this, right? I could just remove a comment like this. Like, there's no point engaging. You're engaging
right now. You're making a whole video about it.
I know. Can I just talk through with you all like my struggles with this? Because maybe you experience the same thing. Because when I get comments on my channel, particularly political comments, I often find myself kind of baited into wanting to reply, and I know I should not. So the first line of defense obviously is like, if you get hateful comments, if you get people spewing misinformation or racist or homophobic stuff, like you can just block those people. You can delete comments. You can block them and send them into the abyss of the internet. And the best advice is really like do that stuff and don't spend time worrying about such people. But then there's this other part of me. There's this other part of me that thinks, well, look, they're like part of the problem with misinformation is that we need public speech. Like we need people to stand up and say what is true, to insist on a factual account of reality. So like ignoring or dismissing certain kinds of online speech, I don't know that it works. I don't know that it works. Like in some ways it's allowing this stuff to like flourish and fester.
You always regret arguing with people online.
I know I do. Can I show you guys something that happened? So just with another comment. So I got this comment from a while back on a video. And in this video, I talk about Paradise Lost, right? John Milton's Paradise Lost. And this is a poem about, it's about Christianity. It's about the Garden of Eden, God, Satan, Adam and Eve. They're all characters in the poem. Anyway, Paradise Lost, great book. Anyway, in that, I got this comment. Oh, I see. I didn't catch the name of the university where you teach. St. Thomas University explains why you and your students would take Paradise Lost seriously vis-a-vis the idea of God. I would argue, though, it would best be taken as a myth, relevant mostly to those who are still steeped in that framework. For some reason, this comment kind of got under my skin. Okay, I remember why I was offended. The two reasons. The first, I think, was the implication that because my students attend a university named after a Christian saint, that they don't think critically about this poem or the Adam and Eve story or something. So I was a little bit offended, I think, because, A, my students are very thoughtful, and B, actually most of my students wouldn't even identify as Christian. So a suggestion that they might be naive for taking Paradise Lost seriously, that kind of ruffled my feathers. The other thing, I think I was offended on behalf of Milton, which is ridiculous. Milton can fight his own fights. This suggestion that the poem is about a myth and therefore does not need to be taken seriously. I kind of bristle at that because I think in a number of ways, Paradise Lost is deadly serious. Regardless, there was no point getting prickly in the comments, but that is what I did. Anyway, I said this crazy thing. So what it sounds like you're suggesting here is that whether my students are atheist, Christian, Muslim, etc., I should tell each class at the outset that religion is wrong and they shouldn't believe it. So rather than read a difficult text and help them think through theological and metaphysical questions on their own and decide for themselves what they think of it, I should just tell them what they're supposed to think. That is a crazy thing to respond to, Tim. I'm sorry, Tim. I took the comment kind of the wrong way, I think, and I went crazy. Anyway, what happens? Tim responds again. He says, I said what I would argue. I didn't say what or how you should teach. He's correct. He said nothing. I don't know why I thought he was telling me how I should teach. My reaction was as a viewer of your public video, expressing how I think the book should best be taken. Legitimate. So one problem with responding to comments is misunderstanding. Tone, context, meaning, all these things are very subtle. And it's easy for us to misinterpret things. I think I misinterpret things all the time. And as a consequence, I sometimes respond in anger when anger is unwarranted. The second deeper problem is about self-righteousness. Self-righteousness feels very good in the moment, but as a posture and a disposition, it usually causes more problems than it solves. But when I reflect on my own behavior online, it seems to me that all the apps are very good at filling me up with this sense of righteous anger. I want to be clear about something. I want to be clear about something. I'm a very happy person. I'm extraordinarily fortunate. I have like this wonderful career that I love and find rewarding. I'm very in love with my wife. I'm married to the love of my life. She is a fantastic partner. I've got 2 great and healthy kids. My extended family is wonderful. I have friends, and I have virtually nothing to complain about, comparatively speaking. So as a result, mean things that random people say on the internet, I don't like. That does just kind of bounce off of me. Like I don't like when people are like, "You're ugly." I don't care. Like, like you're dumb. I hate you. This was the most boring video. I don't care. I don't care about that. Go somewhere else. I don't care. That stuff doesn't like activate me at all. It's political stuff actually that it's when a comment is like politically adjacent, and I think there's some kind of toxic implication to the way they've framed their critique of a book or something. That's the thing that seems to cause me to want to speak. In a way, this makes total sense. The Greeks, they talked a lot about thumos or spiritedness. Philosophers like Plato described this thymotic or spirited part of oneself. It's a part of us that's activated or animated by politics. When someone offends your sense of justice or insults your dignity or behaves shamelessly, we respond in ways that often are not rational, but rather spirited. We get mad.
Stop!
Why again? Why stop now?
Because there are crows eating your garbage.
Oh, those sons of scram, you! There's the stale tortillas. Okay, while he's cleaning that up, let's quickly talk about thumos. I think the internet is governed by what we might call thymotic economies. If we all have inside of us this desire for recognition and this deep belief that we deserve respect, we can think of the internet as this arena where we go to seek out respect and the recognition of our peers. That's why we comment on things. We want people to think we're funny or clever or smart. We want others to celebrate us for having the correct opinions. But the other thing this thymotic or spirited part of us wants is glory or honor. So we also go online to demonstrate that we're smarter than other people, that we're more progressive than other people. We want to compete over who has the best taste. This is part of what makes public speech on the internet so toxic, I think. These various arenas like Twitter or TikTok or Blue Sky, they invite us to adopt competitive, aggressive, or defensive postures. And I think the crows have now dispersed. So, thymotic economies, this is a thing about the internet. We want to speak, we want to be heard, we want people to approve of our opinions, to like what we say. We want to dominate our opponents and our rivals. But here's the other thing. Part of me thinks we're all being played for fools because I think we're engaged. This is going to sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's totally true. Political speech on the internet is becoming increasingly absurd. Okay, so let me just enumerate the ways that online speech, especially online speech about politics, has become absurd. First, no one reads what you post. This is obviously more true for some people than others. Some people have large audiences, some people have very small audiences, but a lot of us are just screaming out into the void, and all of us are doing that some of the time. Even if you have a large audience, you know your content might get shadow banned, or the algorithm might operate as a kind of gatekeeper between you and your intended audience. Two, you are probably arguing with bots. I've noticed this more and more lately. You see lots of bots on the internet these days, but what's really baffling is you will see hundreds of people arguing in the comments, having political debates with robots. Three, we're often preaching to the choir. We're often posting things so that our friends and families who already agree with us can congratulate us with likes and hearts. And that probably has some utility, but a lot of the time people online adopt a posture as if they're arguing with somebody when the only people reading their content or consuming their content are people who agree with them. And I think and one question I struggle with a lot of the time is whether or not posting to social media helps us achieve our political goals. We might want to interrogate that basic assumption. Will posting about this thing bring my desired political outcome into being? Like, in one sense, it seems like that has to be the case. That has to be possible. But on the other hand, I would argue that the rise of social media does correspond to the reemergence of fascism in a serious way in the West. Correlation is not causation, but this to me is a worrisome and suspicious coincidence. Are these tools which we use for public speech, Are they in fact anti-democratic? Speaking publicly very much matters. And I do believe that these platforms can be used for education, for building community. If I did not believe that, I would not be posting things. I would stop creating things. But I do think we need to be intentional about the things we say and share online. I need to do a better job not getting distracted by deranged comments. I got to remember not to take the bait. And I got to remember that not every weird comment is ill-intentioned. How does one talk about books in the face of political emergencies? Two strategies present themselves. One is that, I could talk about books like instrumentally, like we're facing various kinds of crises as humans, as we kind of always are, and we ought to leverage the wisdom of the humanities, the accumulated wisdom, and disseminate it, disseminate the knowledge to people to help them confront and resolve and solve the problems that face us as human beings. Another strategy might be to use the books to distance ourselves or disconnect ourselves from the present moment, not as a means of escaping the present, because we can't do that, or we ought not. We have an obligation not to do that, but as a means of reorienting ourselves. Let me explain. Like, I think, when we read literature, philosophy, when we study art and history, it's an opportunity to think, right? To exercise our minds. We can read stuff in order to find out what's true. We can pursue the truth. We can hold up the truth as something that we can know about. And also, I think there's actually like a real value in studying things that are beautiful. I think beauty is really meaningful and valuable. It is one of the good things in this world. And to encounter things that are beautiful, to encounter extraordinary works of human creativity and imagination, reminds us that there are things that are worth protecting and defending. So I think in this way, like, we can study the humanities in a way that provides us with a kind of distance or alienation from the world, which actually like becomes a kind of anti-fascist practice, right? Like a kind of revolutionary act. So I don't know. Sometimes I think just like reading books and talking about literature is itself revolutionary in the face of political oppression. I should really get back. Let me respond to like some real, genuine comment questions. She's not. No daimon. She's not telling me not to. Here's one more. I like the way you say, paraphrasing, if you don't understand everything, that's fine. Welcome to the club. Neither do we. It reminds me of a quote my chess teacher told me when I was trying out for the Army's chess team, and I was getting frustrated at my losses. He said, "The chess master has lost more games than the student has ever played." Really helped me put into context the lifelong struggle of pursuing a more deeper understanding. This is a very wise comment. This is absolutely true. One of the things about that I hope I try to convey on the channel is I hope like a kind of productive uncertainty. What I've come to understand after years and years of study and reading is that things are complicated. Human things are very complicated. Human life is super complicated. We can, however, with effort and discipline and goodwill, arrive at clearer and better understandings of even very complicated things. That's going to require that you make lots of mistakes. I make lots of mistakes, thinking mistakes, speaking mistakes, internet comment mistakes. I'm reminded of them all the time. You just try to do your best. When you screw up, you try to do better. So thanks for watching. If you want to watch another video about the psychological problems attendant upon talking about things online, you can click this link over here. I will see you there, and I'll talk to you soon.